we begin, I'd like to echo Cole's sentiments in thanking the Hartman Phillips family for including us in this day and putting together this amazing weekend. It's been so much fun, and it's really an honor to be up here, so thank you guys. And thank you, Angus, fantastic job on the song. Jerry, great speech. Cole, great speech. You guys are hard acts to follow, but I'll do my best. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brian Stroop, and I grew up in Annapolis with Will and Katie. I've known both of them for almost 20 years, which seems hard to believe, but it's such an honor for me to be standing up here as one of Willie's two best men. Katie, you make an absolutely stunning bride. You've come a long way since States Middle School. You show up every day in Adidas indoor soccer shoes and Umbro shorts. But I guess we were all wearing those back then. But we've been great friends for almost 20 years now, and I'm confident that even if we weren't here to celebrate the reunion, we still would be great friends anyway. Your accomplishments post-college, with going to the Peace Corps, working for the City of Baltimore Department of Health, and now getting that full ride to Hopkins are nothing short of remarkable. It never cease to amaze me. And the world would be a much better place if we had more Katie Phillips in there. You know, like Cole in Australia, I often feel like the third wheel. I feel like I should be the third wheel, but you never make me feel that way. And that's a true testament to who you are. And thank you for including me today. As most of you know, Will has really shot up the corporate ladder at Under Armour the last 6 years. He is responsible for their environmental responsibility program. He's in charge of all of their green initiatives, an awesome undertaking, and you really couldn't ask for someone more devoted for this task. Now, some of you may be thinking how someone who's 28 years old, who has no memory, who refuses to plan in advance, could have made it this far this soon. And so I decided, looking back, it might be a good idea to look at his professional background, the previous jobs he's held in his life that may have prepared him for this role. High school. Somehow Will made it through 4 years of high school without having a job at all. And yet this never seemed to affect him negatively from a financial standpoint. And we're not sure, Cole and I were talking about this today, if it had to do with the secret compartment in his wallet. Or just the fact that it was just another sign that no matter what for Will, the gods just smile on him. It always seems to work out well for Will. The summer after his freshman year at Penn, Will and I both worked as busboys at the Annapolis Yacht Club. At 19 and 20, pretty sure we were the oldest busboys in Annapolis. We were asked by management early on in the summer to train as waiters and become waiters, but I don't think either of us felt we were ready for that. The highlight of that summer, undoubtedly, was the time that Will walked into the dining room with a crowded tray, the dining room was packed, and tripped himself on purpose, all in the name of receiving a free crab tostada from the head chef on duty that day. I guess his sense of professionalism hadn't exactly set in back then. The following summer, Will lived in Ocean City with Chris Davis and Chris Lauer and a couple other guys over there. And he worked as a delivery man for Captain's Pizza. Now, some of you who aren't familiar with Ocean City or aren't from Maryland may have heard about Captain's Pizza, as it's world-renowned for their 28-inch pie. And Will worked the always lucrative 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Thursday shift. Surprisingly, as you may have guessed, this position or this job didn't last that long, and yet he still made it through 3 months there, going out every single night, never a financial worry in the world. As we said, well, things just happened for Willie. The next summer, I was lucky enough to spend the summer with Will and a bunch of his friends from Penn in Ocean City again, and Will worked at Moore Warfield & Glick, which is a big real estate company down there. And he was a rental assistant or an associate or a utility. Honestly, none of us knew what he did. We just know that it entailed him driving around town, changing renters' light bulbs. The difficult part about this job was that he had to wake up at 8 in the morning. And that was usually about 4 or 5 hours after we'd all gone to bed the previous night. And at some point during the summer, we realized that when he came home, he was never really overly tired, no more tired than Will always is. And he finally let us in on a secret. Throughout the day, he would take little 20-minute cat naps in various places around town. So, one of the places was he would sit on the floor, upright against the door of the men's bathroom in his office. That way, if someone tried to get in, the door opening would jar him awake. He'd get up, wash his hands, throw water on his face, open the door, and no one was the wiser. Or perhaps he would drive his car behind a shopping center and park there. Now this was his Buick LeSabre, or the living room on wheels, as well. And he would crawl into the back seat for 15 or 20 minutes. At some point during the summer, he decided that he was tired of the charade. It was not uncommon for us to walk into his bedroom in the middle of the day and have him passed out in his bed when obviously he should have been out changing light bulbs. So I guess maybe it wasn't his professional background that prepared him for this rapid progression through the corporate ladder. And it was that ability to take advantage of his immediate surroundings and environment, that resourcefulness, that maybe that's what led him to reach this position, which obviously requires that same level of resourcefulness. And in retrospect, that resourcefulness has always been there. His steadfast refusal to use napkins or Kleenexes, that's what the inside of his pockets are for. At the Annapolis Yacht Club that summer, he insisted on bussing tables with little kids at them because he knew they were most likely to leave leftovers. And so, at the end of the night, he would have the biggest sandwich you've ever seen, which consisted entirely of half-eaten chicken tenders and cold French fries. The kid was never happier. He liked that more than the crab tostada, which is not an easy feat. But his recycling, his resourcefulness was never more evident than at 2 in the morning in Ocean City, Maryland. When the bars closed, there's a pizza place near one of the bars that we used to always go to called Pizza Two Goes, and very many of you are familiar with this. They have a promotion there where if you bring back 10 box tops, you get a free pop. Well, at 2 in the morning, as soon as the bar stopped serving, Will would take off out of the Green Turtle and run down Jamestown Road, digging through dumpsters and trash cans, looking for empty box tops.
Chris Davis and John Schuster, I couldn't have done it without you.
But you really perfected it. If it took him longer than 15 minutes, it was a bad night. Will eventually became so prolific at this task that he was banned from the promotion. And that, of course, did not stop him from dumpster diving. He would just hand me the box top in the corner as I returned with this hard-earned reward. Angus and Fran, you would have been so proud. It was great. But obviously, I kid. Well, nothing, or what you've accomplished in both your life and your career at this point is nothing short of remarkable. It doesn't surprise me. Who had like 3 minutes in the over-under when I was going to start crying? CD, what was the line?
It was about 7.
Even though you're a year above me, or I'm sorry, I'm a year above you, I am not ashamed to admit that I've always looked up to you. Whether it was in sports, or social settings, or school, or now in our careers, I've relied on you for advice every step of the way. And without you, there's no way I would be half the person I am today. It might surprise some of you who've known me for a long time to know that I consider myself a fairly cautious person. I'm not really big on rocking the boat or shaking things up. But with Will, he's always been a good force behind me, showing me, or telling me which risks to take, and when it's okay to take these risks, how to undertake them so I can mitigate my downside. He always knows the right thing to say or do in any situation. And I consider myself so lucky to be one of your 2 best friends. You're one of my 2 greatest friends, and I could never have anything, I could never ask you for anything more than that. In high school and college, every time I would leave, Will and I would leave his house, Mrs. Phillips would say to me, "Remember, Brian, you're in charge." She said this last night. She said this 4 hours ago. Well, Katie, it's all yours now. Mercifully, it's all yours, and all I can say is thank you. Godspeed. wish you both nothing but the purest love and the greatest successes life has to offer. I love you both. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah!